What's up, e-bikers? Welcome to a special edition of Chris Cross. Today we're speaking with David Cleveland. He's the founder of Nevada-based Ecells e-bikes, which has been at the forefront of dual motor, dual battery e-bikes, and recently came out with the Five Star, a powerful 1500 watt, 60 amp hour e-bike that has the industry talking. David, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you.
Well, thank you, Chris. I hope everything's going well with you.
Always good in e-bike
I
land.
guess I got a bunch of questions I got to answer today, huh?
Yeah. I saw my first e-cells back in 2021. It was probably the second ever e-bike I ever rode after I got my electric XP. Somebody in my group had one, so he brought it down to show me, and I was like overwhelmed. I was like 95 pounds, dual motors. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this thing is it's a monster. And that was my first introduction to your brand there. So that was kind of cool. So you've been around for quite a while. When did you start the company?
Uh, we I started the company 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Actually, a little more than 5 years ago. I uh, I fell in love with e-biking, and like everyone, I tried to buy, what was the best looking bike for the least amount of money, and invariably, I had two of those, and they're still in a trash pile. But I came to the conclusion if I wanted something more, I'm going to have to develop it. And I in the in out in on our facility here in one of the carports, I've got a 2002 a Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland model, and it's got a $2,700 transmission, a Mercedes transmission in it, and it's all the time all wheel drive. And I live in a beautiful valley with mountains 17 miles from here, and about the same distance. We've got Dry Lake to run on. 60 miles from here, we have Death Valley, and we're about 45 miles from Las Vegas. So it's a nice little bedroom community, about 50,000 people in it. Uh, anyway, I wanted an all-wheel drive bike. And I wanted to be comfortable, a full suspension bike, and they didn't make them.
Hmm.
And so I looked at online, looked a lot of different um, uh, off-road bikes, mountain bikes, and I came up with a frame style that I wanted to go with. I wanted to go with the horse four-link suspension. So I came up with some design ideas. I went to China, told them I wanted twin motor, twin battery, full suspension design bike, and I had a multitude of emails that pretty much didn't want to get involved. Others wanted to know what kind of market research I'd done and whether or not all-wheel drive was going to be successful.
Hmm.
And I ran into a company with their sales manager that said, "Well, I'm thinking about starting my own factory. If you want to pay for it, I'll try it." And so the factory I currently use only builds my bikes exclusively.
Hmm.
And the first model that they built for me was the one that Micah toll tested. It even had just said Ecells Super Monarch. It was paste some labels on it, and he tested my prototype. And I finally got a hold of him after about 3 weeks after he tested it, and I asked him, what do you think of the bike?" He said, "Well, I did a review on it, and I also wrote an article. When you're ready to launch your company, let me know and I'll publish them." I said, "Well, you got to let me see it." "No, no, no. We don't allow editorial influence. You'll get to see it when it launched." And I told him, I said, "Well, you got to give me something."
Hmm.
So I really wasn't in the idea of going to the e-bike making business. And he said, "Well, let me tell you this: of all the fun I've ever had on an e-bike, double it." And I just rode your Super Monarch. And he actually says that in print and also I think on video. And it was that. Then I realized that I had something that I could market, and so that's exactly what I did. We went ahead and ordered a bunch of them, and that first month I think I sold 270 of them.
Wow.
So the company's done well, and we just specialized primarily in all wheel drive bikes until here last year in November. I had a gentleman call me, and he was asking me about one of my Super Monarch, the 1500-watt bike, and he said, "Well, that's fine. You copied Wired's frame, and I'll just go ahead and order their bike and then fix it up myself to make it all-wheel drive." And he hung up, and I thought, "What the heck just happened?" I didn't know anything about Wired, and I Google searched it, and there was my frame, and I was just shocked. And so we did a bunch of investigation about the product, looked at the bike, saw 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 where I could improve the product, and so with that we just done exceptionally well.
Yeah. How do you think the 5 star differs from the wire? Because they're fairly similar in terms of specs, but how do you think it stands out?
Well,
I want to pull up here too on your website.
yeah, you asked me a question I could take an hour answering, but number one, if we're looking to look just at the power plant, because that's um, I examined the Hentac 1200 motor at that time. It's of course they came up with the 1500 before we actually went in production on the 1500s. They
Mhm.
they we when we approached Hentac, they opened their arms to us. I heard all they got the exclusive and all of this, but that wasn't the case. Um, the With the KT controller and the display, it's those are two wonderful products. But I saw some very strong problems that they had with their controllers when my production manager in China went to visit KT. The first thing they said, well, we're having a bunch of problems with the 2024 Wired Freedom controllers, and pretty much uh, we weren't sure it just really was the controller package that we wanted to go with,
Mhm.
and um, anyway, we asked them about potting the controllers. They'd ever done it? No, they hadn't. We told them our procedure with our. I was the first company to offer a dual motor, integrate a dual integrated controller, and we experienced heat problems with those. Massive amount of power going through those, and that was through me coming up. I read something with 3M about this new thermal gel, and so we tried it with 4 years prior, and we've been doing it ever since. And so when we went to KT, we said, well, here we want you to do this for the controllers, and it's really solved a lot of problems. You just saw there was just a review done where with the wired bike, he put his hand on the controller, it was hot, did the same test, put his hand on our controller, and it was cool. And so of course we open to expose our controllers to
Mhm.
the air. Our frames have mounts for the controller in the rear, and
That's
so
right.
we were able to mount the controller so it doesn't flop around, or it's covered by a weatherproof uh, case, and so that was one of the areas that we were definitely able to improve on the bike is with the controller. Uh, Another thing that when you have a, a bike like this is sucking out 40 amps, you gotta provide the right kind of batteries within within the battery case.
Yep.
It's going to be able to handle that kind of discharge. And we've been using those Samsung 50Es for 4 years now on our big 1500-watt bike, and they're just exceptional. They're high discharge cells. You can have a bucket full of water and a 1 inch hole in the bottom of it, and it's only going to give you a small amount of water was compared inside the bucket. But you put a 2 or 3 inch hole in it, you have a lot faster drop of water. And it's the same principles that we're applying here with the batteries that we use on our bikes. If you don't have a big enough hole to let that battery discharge, it goes slowly. So when we run the bikes side by side, we see a big difference in the performance of them. And then I really think it's in the batteries and what we've done with the controllers.
Yeah. What kind of a life do you think your bikes have at this point, David?
What kind of what?
Life, like if I buy a 5 star today, is that going to last me 5, 10 years even?
Well, my frame, we've developed it over the last 5 years, and I give you a lifetime warranty on it. Uh, I look at my competition, and I remove the battery, and I see some kind of covering to cover the wires, and the bottom of the belly of the bike. With our bike, you lift the battery, and you see the whole battery it rests on solid aluminum, and that's a bracing within our frame to stop flex and a lot of distortion when you're riding the bike. There's my frames are heavier.
Mhm.
In terms of warranty, we give we give a 2 year battery and motor warranty as
Years, okay.
opposed to 1 year.
Mhm.
Uh, as far as the life of them, um, it really the batteries really depend on the cycles that you run through them.
Yeah.
We
How many cycles do
anticipate.
you think yours is good for? Six,
Uh,
7, 8, like
I'm
that?
sorry.
I think a typical battery is what, 700 cycles, 500 cycles, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, about 800 cycles. And a cycle is a lot of people misnomer about that. A cycle is from full charge to full discharge. So when we talk about 800 cycles, you got a battery that's going to last a long time. We had
Yeah.
a customer that just had his bike in storage for 2 years, and he stored it fully charged,
Yep.
and he came back 2 years later, it was down a little bit, but battery's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool. Yeah. Any other what's like do you know the customer who has like the most miles on an e-cells bike? How many miles?
24, oh, 24,000.
24,000. Wow.
Yes, 24,000. We've got a lot of customers with bikes over 15,000. My customer, my customer with the 24,000 miles, he just ordered on my new Triple Crown bike. So he's gonna finally move it away from that and get one of our very
Yeah. Who's your typical customer? How would you describe them?
54 years old, male, um, I guess at time in our life when when we start realizing that we're really aging and we want to add a little spice to our life. E-biking just changes your life. It's so exciting. The wives like it because you come back from your bike ride and you're all charged up and uh, um, and 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 it's to be able to go cruising down the road and pull up to a neighbor and say hi to them and they don't back off because you're
Yep.
up in your pickup truck. That it's very friendly, it's very open, and it's a great way to meet people for sure.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely why I got into it. Sounds like my YouTube audience, which is like, it's like half my audience is over 50. So perfect for them. Lots of options in the 5 star, David. What are any of these selling better than others? What are some of the more popular options that you've been seeing so far with the pre-orders?
Well, I think that's actually a question that would it's almost proprietary. I'm not going to tell my competition what my best-selling options are, so they offer the same options.
Gotcha.
Uh, but our dual crown fork is very popular.
Mhm.
That's just a great fork built for us. It's an Ecells fork. You can't buy them,
Yep.
and we've got close to 2,000 of them out there right now, and have only had 8 problems with them, and 5 of those 8 problems um, were where they crashed the vehicle. or the bike, and the other three was because they were locking their front forks and then cinching them down like you would on a motorcycle in the back of the truck. Just pull those straps down tight, and um, uh, these forks don't like that, and so we had to change three of those chambers. But now we realize that you'll want to just let the fork fully compress and transport it that way. But we haven't had a single dropout brake on them, which is really, for the amount of power that we put on the front of those, it's really amazing. The fork's done such a great job.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like you see range here is going to be about, let's see here. If you're 200 pounds and ride 35 miles an hour using an average of 2,000 watts, you'll go 21 miles on full throttle. But if you're using PS1, riding 15 miles an hour using 250 watts, you can expect over 70 miles. That's a pretty good range from a single battery e-bike like that. Thanks to that 60 volts, 20 amp hours. Um,
Also, you have to consider in our in the mileage of the bike is when heat's accumulating either in the through the batteries or the controller, or even in the motor, you
mhm.
start losing efficiency. So when we can run the bike in cooler, you're going to get more efficiency out of it.
Right, right, definitely. Awesome. Well, so the bike is going to ship May 15th. Is that correct?
Uh, no, we're actually going to ship this month.
This month. Oh, okay. You haven't been stocked
Yeah.
now? Or you're waiting for it to get
No,
there?
no, no. They're in transport. They're on the sea right now. Uh, I generally now when you're looking at the May 15th there, that's if you ordered one today.
Today, okay.
Yeah, we I like to stretch the delivery time so I don't get upset customers.
Yeah.
And in this situation, we're really pushing it with the April delivery, but uh, the next batch of bikes will be complete in about 10 more days, and they're shipping. And then every right now our production cycle is running a container every 2 weeks.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have plenty of stock. But I don't know about that. The bikes are selling pretty hot and heavy right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this style. It's traditional looking frame, which I like. It's got great power, dual suspension. I mean, big battery. What's not to like? So I think you're going to sell a lot of these.
Well, they
And
look like a bike.
yeah,
Now,
exactly.
you got we got these guys out there running around in these cafe racers that are trying to do 45 miles an hour, and those look like a don't look like an electric bike. That's for doggone sure.
Yeah, they look like motorcycles. Yeah. Yeah, I like, I'm glad they're out there. Some people like that style more. It's more the younger guys who like those. But me being over 50, I'm more traditional when it comes to frame styles, things like that. And by the way, audience, if you want $100 off a 5 star here, use code CCR 100 at checkout, and you can get $100 off that 1995. So it's a pretty good deal. I think it's a great e-bike for the money too, right, David? It's a great value in my opinion.
Absolute great value. When I shopped the when I looked at my competition, I was actually looking at two different bikes I was gonna go after. I've been in the all wheel drive e-bike making business for 5 years, and we got some reports in December, and it's called all wheel drive e-bikes in the worldwide marketplace. And of course, because of that report, we're going to see all kinds of new all wheel drive bikes coming out this year, and a lot of them just coming straight from China. And the market report shows that that's what the predicted future of all wheel drive bikes are. But one of the things I realized, and it was nice. It was I had to pay $3,600 for the stupid report, which it wasn't stupid, but it did recognize me as a pioneer in
Mhm.
all wheel drive, so that was kind of neat. But uh, what I came to discover was I'm missing 95% of the marketplace. Why am I just trying to sell to 5% when I should be selling to 100%?
Mhm.
So that's when we really looked at real wheel drive bikes and trying to penetrate that market. And when I looked at this particular product that I was competing with, we priced it out, and I said, "Oh my God, they're way overpriced."
Mm,
And because of that, we could offer free shipping. We could offer a 2 year warranty. We could offer all these different things and all these upgrades to it, and still remain a profitable bike for me, but also a great value for the consumer. It's
yep.
you know, it's uh,
And I think you
after
have
you've
to
been
these days because the prices of e-bikes are coming way down. So people are expecting more for less now. So I think this is it's a great price point for this e-bike. It's
yeah, I think so.
awesome. Last question, just talk about your staff there, your support. What do you get when you buy an e-cells?
Well, number one, you get 5 star service. Uh, we we have a staff here that takes calls, and I have a full blown tech here every day. And so for warranty concerns, he surely can step up to talk to the customer if need be. But like it's I got a lady that specializes in warranty, and her day consisted of 3 emails for problems over the weekend. It's
Mhm.
we have very little warranty work, but we've got well over $100,000 in parts here to service warranty. We definitely my one of my big concerns is other than safety is customer satisfaction. And I know if I satisfy my customers, they're going to be happy and tell others. If I don't, then I'm in big trouble.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Do you have a lot of parts in stock as well, like just for support and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've got over $100,000 in parts. I've got we try to stock 20 of everything, and a lot of that stuff just sits in a hopper. We
Yeah.
never reorder because we never use it. But yeah, it was quite an expense to order all those parts originally. The and so anyway, yeah.
Knowing what you know now, David, about selling e-bikes, what would you tell your 5-year-old David Cleveland about what not to do or what to do in terms of when it comes to making e-bikes?
Well, that's uh, offer the best quality product that you possibly can at the best price. The fact is that consumers aren't stupid, and though especially in this marketplace today, many are attracted by these extremely low prices. We the consumers have to be really careful about that. My, I believe the integrity can't be bought or sold. It has to be earned through a commitment to being utterly sincere
Mhm.
and a full commitment of excellence. And it's something that people say you have. It's not something I can say I have. I have to prove it that that I earned that distinction of being able to say I have integrity, and I fully believe in my heart that um, I want to. I want to do the best I can, and I've always been that way, and always will be that way. I'm very competitive too. Uh, I can't wait until we see closed course racing in these things, and I'm very excited about that possibility in years down the road.
Yeah, totally. There's going to be e-bike races eventually, so sign me up. Awesome. Well, appreciate your time today, David. Ecells.com for the viewers out there. Check them out. Use my code CCR100 for $100 off. And David, thanks for joining us today, and good luck with everything at eCells.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye bye now.